Hello and welcome to AFcast. I'm your host Malcolm, and today I am going to be talking about Operation Ember Rise. But before I get into that, I do want to apologize for this coming out really late, including some of the other stuff I'll be coming out with on both my YouTube channel and this podcast. I've been having some computer issues and been trying to figure it out, and I figured out a temporary solution until my computer is fixed. So, anyway. So Operation Ember Rise is an update for the game Rainbow Six Siege, and Rainbow Six Siege is just a tactical shooter for those of you who don't know, and every quarter year they come out with an update, and this update is Operation Ember Rise. And once again, they came out with an attack operator and a defense operator, and new map and several other things, but to start us off, I'm going to be talking about the attack operator, which is Maru. She is a 2-speed, 2-armor operator, and her primary gun is the GAA-1, which is the LMG that IQ has, and then she also has the Supernova shotgun, which is the shotgun that the Japanese operators have. And then her side gadget stuff is a claymore or a stun grenade. Her secondaries is the Spanish shotgun, the ITA 125, and it's the sidearm pocket shotgun. And then there's also SMG 11, which is smoke sidearm SMG. Her main gadget, like her ability, is her Gara hook. Basically, what this is a grappling hook that is a lot different than the one that every other attack operator gets. This one is really fast and pretty instant as well, and this allows you to go to any window or ledge that is higher than your current position. You have 4 charges, and it does take a certain amount of time between your shots in order for it to actually be used. And also there's some time at the beginning that it has to go through before you're able to shoot it, so you can't just spawn and instantly get to a roof, because that would be a little OP. But this doesn't allow you to be looking from like a roof and looking down at a window and be able to go through the window. You have to be looking up at a window or a ledge or something in order to actually get to it. Sometimes you're able to go horizontal, but it has to be just slightly above you. Otherwise it won't work. But yeah, she is a very fast operator to getting inside of the building. Honestly, a new Ash type, honestly, for a lot of people, especially with having a shotgun and LMG type as well. And she's pretty fun to play. She is very, you can use her very tactically. For one, being able to get around the map and hold angles that other operators wouldn't be able to hold at a certain place in time. And then also being able to push in last second a lot quicker than other operators would be as well. And then she can also just be used, like I said, as an Ash, where you just kind of push in instantly, try to take out as many people as you can before you die out yourself. She can be used either way. I personally like the more tactical approach, though the speed run, killing as many people as you can, is also kind of fun, but it obviously does get you killed a lot. And it's also really fun to shoot through the window. But this does not work like most grappling hooks, where you're able to, stay on the grappling hook. Kind of when people use, when other attackers use their grappling hook and they're able to stay at a window that's on the side of a building and whatnot in order to look in and peek through the window. No, your character will instantly go through the window or onto the ledge. You can't hold your position on a wall with her gadget, which kind of sucks, but it makes sense because it is a little OP as it is. And one note that I do have as well is a ledge includes a hatch. So if there's a hatch broken above you, then you can actually rappel up through it, which is an incentive to getting the pocket shotgun, so that way you can break a hatch above you and go up there, which is really nice if you plant a diffuser below a hatch, because then if you're able to protect it from vertical gameplay without having to go upstairs, which once again is really nice. So, or you can get some other types of advantages of flanking people that other attack operators wouldn't be able to, or surprising as well. But her gadget is really loud and very obvious, so just be careful with that. Our defense operator is Goyo, and he is, like I said, defense. He is also 2 armor and 2 speed. His primary weapons are the Vector from Mira and the TCSG-12, the shotgun from, what's his name, Cade. And his gadgets are the Impact Grenade and Nitro Cell. And his secondary is just a P229, so just any normal pistol. I'm pretty sure it's the Japanese operator's pistol as well. And his unique ability is a Vulcan shield, which is a normal, which is basically a normal shield, except for it has a gasoline container on the back of it. And he gets 3 of these total. And if you shoot this gasoline container in the back, or if there's an explosion that's near it that causes it to be destroyed, it'll leave an area of an effect of fire that lasts certain amount of time. I can't remember what the time is exactly, but it's the same as the fire bolts for Capitao, which are not called asphyxiation bolts anymore. They're just called fire bolts now. Really, I don't see any reason why they should have changed that, but there you go. But it has the same range, same time, I believe. Maybe it's longer than Capitao's bolts, but I don't know. But this is really useful for area denial, like smoke. And then also it kind of goes with the new update with having the ballistic shields that you can place down, because they've actually changed them. They've made them wider, and they've also made them have bulletproof looking glass that is 2-way. And it has a specific pattern and stuff that kind of fits with gameplay. But this allows you to kind of use it as a Mira, but once again, it is 2-way. So it could also work against you if you're using it as cover. But now operators are being switched out of having these shields, and also some operators are getting them as well in like replacement of barbed wire or impacts or something like that. Now with the new, I guess, capabilities of the shields. And it's honestly completely changed gameplay, because now shields completely take up a doorway instead of just taking up part of it. Not to mention that you can't tell the difference from the front between a normal ballistic shield and Vulcan's shields, or Goyo's Vulcan shields. So yeah, so watch out for those. But he is like I said, a very good area denial. If you are running out of time, it is really good to shoot all of the canisters. Sadly, he doesn't have a remote detonation that you can use. That'd be kind of sweet. But I feel like it would be nice to have something kind of like Ella, where if she goes down, she's able to activate all of her concussion mines that she has placed, which is completely useless for her. But for Goyo, I feel like it actually would be useful to be able to set off all of the Vulcan shields at the same time if he was downed, or even just in general if he wanted to. But that's not in the game, so don't think that that is part of the game. So, but yeah, so his Vector is also really good to use if you were to play his ballistic shields like they were Mira's, and then his shotgun is also, I'd honestly say that those two are pretty close, just like Amaru's weapons with her shotgun versus LMG. It's really up to however your game style is, or your play style is, not your game style. But yeah, the new map is Canal. And that might sound funny because we already have a map named Canal, but this is a rework of the game, or of the map rather. And this rework has now made it a really big fan favorite. A lot of people are now considering this the best map. And I would say that, yeah, this is a really good map now. I mean, I shouldn't say they've completely changed it. It still kind of has the same vibe as Canal, but now it's actually viable to play. And it is really fun to play in ranked matches as well. And yeah, it has all new, like it has a new bridge. It has all new buildings and objectives. It even has one more objective than it used to have when it comes to bomb. And overall, it's just a great new map. And it works really well during ranked. You could do a lot more strategies than you could before. It's not as like choke pointish, I guess. Like there's not as many choke points that you can hold people down, especially now that there are a lot of ways to get to the west side of the map and the east side of the map without having to just go down one tunnel. So the new map rework was a great success in my opinion, and a lot of people are considering this, like I said before, a really good new map that is even considered a favorite among a lot of people. Another new change to this is the unranked playlist, and the version of this is just that it is ranked but without the rankings. So basically this is like a casual but with the ranked rules to it. So you just don't get rankings. This is basically like a practice, I would say, or this is also for people who have friends who are a lower MMR than they are. So because there is a new system where you can't play with someone that is a certain amount of MMR below you, because they don't want boosting to happen. So this unranked playlist allows you to play with the same rules and against mainly the same people, and stay pretty much as serious as well without having to worry about the restrictions of ranking. And for some people, because I even know someone who just doesn't like to play ranked because it's too stressful to have to worry about getting rankings. And that is completely understandable. And so I feel like this unranked playlist also helps with that. And along with ranked as well, there is a new champions rank, which is basically once you get higher than diamond, you start getting into this champion rank where it essentially, once you reach a certain threshold, it'll start giving you a number. And that number means how close you are to on the leaderboard of the highest MMR. So if you are number 1, then you have the highest MMR. If you're number 500, then you're still 499 people who have higher MMRs than you. So, yeah. So there have also been some changes in map rotation. Now they are taking out some maps and doing some changing with how they rotate them per month. So in casual, they're taking out house, presidential plane, yacht, favela, theme park, and tower. And then in ranked and unranked, they're taking out Hereford, theme park, and fortress. And obviously they added back the rework of canal to ranked as well, since it's actually a viable map for ranked. And essentially what's going to happen is every month they're going to be cycling in and out 3 maps. And this is going to just be obviously replacing some, so some people can get familiar with certain maps, like a certain map pool, and then that map pool will switch around a little bit, and then people can familiarize themselves with that map pool as well, which basically allows people to be able to focus on a certain amount of maps per month. Which to a certain extent I agree with, but at the same time, I feel like that really limits people for people who don't have enough time and kind of want to play on all of the maps. But at the same time, I think it's a good idea. I just think it's kind of a split between whether or not it was a good idea, in my opinion. Because I feel like you're limiting people to a certain extent of what maps they can play, but at the same time it allows people to focus on certain maps. So yeah, but you guys can decide however for that stuff however you want, which is fine. There is also a new operators menu which looks great. Basically it has now separated the attackers and defenders. You're also allowed to showcase an attacker and a defender on the main operator screen, which is pretty cool. And it's honestly, this new operator menu is really good. I really like it, and it feels a lot more comfortable. It looks more formal than the previous one did. And yeah. The next thing is the Mira Elite set, which is the new Elite set, which is from Mira. So she's got a new skin, new gadget skin, everything like that. Her animation is A lot of people don't like it. I'm okay with it, but it's not the best. But the skin, in my opinion, looks really great. And yeah, I'd recommend getting it, honestly, for the skin, not for the animation, but still. And also, for those of you guys who play Terrorist Hunt, they have removed rooms that are filled with nitrocell and barbed wire, and have also removed bombers. So now for people who practice Terrorist Hunt before they go into a game, it's a bit better for practicing rather than it being an entirely new game in general. Which for some people, most people I feel like are going to like this, but some people who mainly play Terrorist and like that challenge probably won't like it as much, but yeah. Then once again, there are the Ember Rise. There's like the seasonal weapon skins that you can get, though there's only 2 this season. There aren't 4, which kind of sucks. They're not really that good in my opinion, but I don't really usually get the seasonal operator or the seasonal weapon skins. These don't really look that good to me, but it's up to you to decide. And once again, just like usual, every single season, the operators' prices have decreased, like 10,000, like 15,000 down to 10,000, or 20,000 down to 15,000, etc., etc. And there are also the operator balancing, where they have changed like shotgun destructions. That way, it is more reliable. They've also changed the sidearm destructions. That way, all revolvers will actually have the same destruction as a deagle, which makes sense compared to the caliber. And then there's also all of the deployable shields that I mentioned. There's a bunch of people who got their deployable shields either switched out or switched into their characters. So I would check out your favorite operators to see if you now have a shield or not, or if you lost it even. And then one really nice thing for shield operators is that their ADS time has increased from 0.4 seconds to 0.6 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but shield operators have been kind of OP recently, and actually pretty much since Siege came out. So now with this increase of ADS time, it gives people more of a chance to counter a shield than it did before, because before you could walk in with a Monty, or a Blitz and completely decimate an entire team. So this new ADS difference has, really been a help. And then there is also the 417 when I have 10 additional rounds per magazine, which does make it a more viable weapon. Still, a lot of people consider the F2, and I don't remember what Lion's gun is called, a lot better than the 417 even now. But now overall, this DMR is a more viable DMR if it is ever to be used again for another character. And for Fuse, for those of you who are Fuse mains, they've changed the deployment time for the cluster charge. They've actually reduced it from 2 seconds down to 1.6 seconds, making it considerably quicker. Once again, doesn't sound like much of a difference, but if you've played Siege long enough, you know that every millisecond counts for something. So, yeah. And the AUG A3 has actually been increased in its DPS for Cade. It is now 33 to 36 for the damage. Now making it about average across all of the SMGs, and it's now not the worst SMG across all of them. So, yeah. Also, Warden got a nice buff, which is that his duration has increased from 8 to 10 seconds. And once again, doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot. And it really helps out making him a bit more strong, because nobody really played him when he first came out because he was terrible. But now it's a bit better. Along with that, they've completely, I shouldn't say completely, but they've removed a lot of the movement penalty from Warden and Glaz. and it makes them a lot more viable to use. A lot of people stopped using Glaz because of the movement penalty, and nobody really used Warden. And so now with this movement penalty being decreased, it's made it a lot nicer and makes it feel like the operators have kind of been more useful now than they have been in the past update. There is also now for Thatcher, there is a Thatcher debuff icon. Like when defenders get hit by the effect of Thatcher's EMP, they'll see a little icon in the corner that says that they are under the effects of an EMP, which is nice. They have also changed the vault distance, which limits a lot of the parkour that people have done before, but overall doesn't really change any actual gameplay. It's just for people who wanted to get to those really cheeky spots using different parkour techniques. Now will be really limited for what stuff they can do. But for people who play this, who play Rainbow Six Siege, kind of, I shouldn't say how it was meant to play, but that is kind of what this is supposed to be, then it shouldn't affect you at all. So you don't have to worry about that much. And then there are a ton of bug fixes that have been fixed for both characters and just regular in-game and map stuff. So yeah. But beside all of that, make sure you check out our Instagram, our Twitter, our Discord. Also, make sure you check out our website. We have a bunch of other stuff that relates to gaming on there, like Twitch, YouTube channels, and another podcast. But yeah, also make sure you check out the person who made the music for this podcast, which is DJ Augie. But besides all of that, game on.